From creepy figures creeping in the woods to unexplained creatures caught on camera.
Oh shit! What the?
Hang on for the most scary encounters, proving that some things are better left undiscovered. A villager was heading home when something terrifying caught his eye. He suddenly saw a figure dressed in white with black hair. The strange witch was watching him, and that alone was enough to give him a shock. He realized that it was a ghost, as trees are often home to such beings. When he realized what he had seen, he quickly turned and ran as fast as he could. But rumors suggest he mysteriously disappeared after that sighting. Only this haunting video was left behind. Creepy creature. While camping in the woods at night, a camper heard strange voices. Curious, he followed the sound. His flashlight was cutting through the darkness. As he moved deeper, his beam landed on something, a white creature peeking from behind a tree, its shape barely visible. It was hard to tell what it was. The darkness made it unclear. It might be a pale walker or a crawler, but fear took over. He didn't wait to find out. He ran straight back to his tent. Whatever that thing was, he wanted nothing to do with it. That night, he didn't sleep at all. Skinwalker. A family was enjoying a picnic in the woods while the kids played nearby. The father watched them, smiling, until he noticed something that made him scared. His daughter stood a little farther away, but behind her, a long, bony hand reached out. The arm was unnaturally thin, stretched too far. Its body, covered in black hair, crept closer. Then, as if sensing his stare, it slipped back into the trees. The father didn't hesitate. They packed up and left immediately. Locals whispered about skinwalkers, shapeshifters lurking in the wild. Whatever it was, he wasn't about to stick around and find out. Creepy figure. A family was camping in the woods when they noticed movement behind the trees. Something was there, shifting between the branches. They grabbed a camera and zoomed in curiously, and that's when they spotted it. A dark figure with a red head. It didn't move like any animal they knew. The way it moved felt unnatural, almost like it was aware of them watching. A scare ran through the group. So, was it a skinwalker or even stranger? Strange creature. In a Filipino village, a local was walking when he suddenly spotted a disturbing figure, which was an old woman holding a stick. Her presence was unsettling, but what made it worse was the strange chant she murmured as she passed by. She didn't belong to the village, and seeing her at such an hour didn't make sense. He turned to look again, but she was gone. When the villagers heard his story, they immediately recognized that he had encountered the night hag, a mysterious entity said to roam the night. Masked figure.
You guys, Blood Zack 12 here, and we're out in the forest again.
A group of friends was crossing a field late at night when they noticed something odd, a white mask hanging from a tree branch. In the dim light, it looked scary, curious, but uneasy. One of them picked it up. Almost instantly, they spotted something caught their eye, a pale figure standing nearby wearing the same mask. It didn't make a sound, it just stood there. And that was enough. The friends ran, not stopping until they were far away. Whatever they had walked into that night, they made sure never to go back.
Oh shit! What the?
Terrifying encounter. Driving through an abandoned road at night is already unsettling. But for these two friends, the real nightmare was waiting ahead. They were driving down an abandoned road when one of them noticed something in the fields. Moments later, his fear became real. A lady in white appeared in front of their car, her face hidden beneath messy hair. The sight alone was enough to scare them. Before they could react, she suddenly descended beneath the car and vanished. Did she enter the vehicle or left them alone? Let me know what you guys think. Creepy shadow.
Yo, what the is that?
People love exploring abandoned places, but sometimes they find more than they expect. A brave explorer passed near an old, empty house. People talked about creepy things inside, but he never took it seriously until that night. Out of curiosity, he pulled out his phone and started recording. That's when he saw it. A giant black figure was seen standing in the first floor window. It stood there for a moment, then vanished. Rumors said it was the spirit of someone who had passed away years ago, still wandering every night. And once you notice something like that, it has a way of staying with you.
Yo, what the is that?
Creepy vibes. In the Guadalupe neighborhood of Santa Fe, locals were enjoying the evening when they saw something that made them stop in their tracks. A black creature sat under the light in a bizarre posture. It had a humanoid shape, but it wasn't moving. That's when they realized this wasn't just any creature. It had the features of a werewolf, and the way it crouched, it almost felt like it was feeding something from the ground. However, the creature wasn't bothered by the man recording it, and the dude too left it alone after some moments. Weird creature. A group of campers captured a strange thing on video while camping in the Rocky Mountains. As they sat around, a mysterious creature suddenly appeared on the roof of their trailer. The creature had an odd shape and moved in an unnatural way. Before they could make sense of it, it quickly went away. Some thought it resembled a koala, but no one was sure. No clear explanation ever surfaced, and to this day, the footage remains a mystery. Let me know in the comments, what do you think it could be?
What was that? Holy shit.
Night lurker. A resident in his backyard saw a sight that left him frozen when he turned on the light. Here's what he saw. A creepy, skinny figure sat in his yard. It had long hair and a terrifying face straight out of a nightmare. For over an hour, the figure stayed there unmoving. It might be a pale crawler, a creature known for creeping in the dark. The resident wisely stayed inside, watching from a distance. It disappeared after that, but he was sure it might return soon. This time, it was in the backyard, but maybe next time inside the house. Dark encounter. Something terrifying is coming your way, so hold on tight. In Indonesia, a camper felt an unusual presence nearby. Moving cautiously, he spotted a huge creature on the ground. It looked weak, with a black body and a face resembling a dog. As he stepped closer, the creature reacted, forcing him to run. Later, he posted the video online, hoping to find out what it was. Many viewers commented that it might be a dog man. If that's true, this could be the clearest sighting of the dog man ever recorded. Horned creature. A farmer was roaming around his farm when he noticed an unusual sight. In the distance, a pair of horns slowly emerged from the bushes, but what scared him was the humanoid head beneath them. It wasn't an animal, it was something else. It never fully stepped out, only revealing just enough to let him know it was there. It stayed motionless for a few moments before fading back into the darkness of the bushes. From that day on, he knew he was not alone. Rake chase.
Go.
A group of friends struggled through the dark woods, carrying their injured friend to safety. Every few steps, they glanced back, spotting a slimy, unnatural figure creeping just beyond the trees. It moved silently, always staying just out of reach. They shined their flashlights on it, and the creature jumped, but it never retreated. Rather, it watched in silence. This made the group beg him to be left alone. As they reached their car, the feeling of being hunted grew stronger. They barely made it inside, slammed the door shut. Through the windows, the darkness outside felt alive, as if whatever followed them hadn't truly left.
Go!
Ghostly face.
I've heard that weird alien noise again. Do you remember?
Camping alone in the woods, a man heard a loud, scary scream. According to him, the voice wasn't human, it sounded ghostly. So grabbing his camera, he began explaining what he heard, unaware of what was behind him. When the footage was uploaded online, people saw a creepy, ghostly face appear just over his shoulder. He had no idea it was there at the time, but later he saw that too. Luckily, he made it through the night, but the terrifying discovery stayed with him forever.
I literally could hear it swooping across.
Cambodian ghost. A paranormal investigation team visited a riverbank known for its tragic past. Locals spoke of a young boy lost in a mudslide and a man who took his own life. To honor the restless spirits, the team left offerings and prayed. As they stood in silence, they noticed a figure sitting at the water's edge. His skin was unnaturally pale, and his face lacked distinct features. A heavy unease filled the air as they cautiously approached. Then, without a sound, the figure slipped beneath the water and vanished. The team searched, but there was no sign of him. Whatever they had seen that night was not of this world. Creature on tree. While passing through the woods at night, a man spotted a strange creature on a tree. It had arms and legs, but its appearance was more insect-like. Its thin limbs looked unnatural, and its skin didn't seem human. The most unsettling part was its eyes, staring directly at him, as if watching his every move. For a moment, he felt as if it was planning to go after him. He didn't stay to find out. Turning around, he hurried away, feeling its look staying behind him. Navajo Skinwalker. Late one night, an explorer set out to travel through a remote stretch of Navajo land. The road was dark and empty until a lone figure appeared ahead. Thinking it was a hitchhiker, the explorer slowed down to help. Before he could react, it dropped to all fours and sprinted into the wilderness. The next day, when he described the encounter to the locals, they told him about the circulating rumors. Such figures, aka shapeshifters, said to roam their land at night. Though there have been no reports of them attacking people, they still are pretty fierce if you go near them. Indonesian mystery. A group of friends were exploring the woods when out of nowhere, a strange creature appeared in front of them. It was small and had a hairy face. At first, they thought it might be some unknown species of monkey, but it felt off. It didn't move like an ordinary animal, and its eyes seemed too strange. Not wanting to take any chances, the group slowly backed away. As they left, the creature remained where it was. When the footage was shared online, people speculated it could be a cryptid that remained undiscovered. Unknown figure. At Old Stone Face, near the Pipestone Cemetery in Pipestone National Monument, a photographer captured a scary image. He had been taking pictures of this sacred Native American land, unaware of what his camera had caught. The ghostly shape appeared to be looking downward, as if staring directly at him. Had he seen it at that moment, he might not have been able to press the shutter. Screams at night.
Please, please, please.
In 2024, 3 friends set out for a camping trip, ready for a fun night under the stars. Everything was going as planned, until a scary sound came from the dark forest. A scream, high-pitched and haunting, like a child or woman.
No.
They stopped talking, staring into the trees. One of them grabbed a phone to record, hoping to catch it if it happened again. Moments later, it did. And this time, the scream was even louder. Fear crept in. Should they check it out? They decided not to. Sleep was out of the question. They stayed up, waiting for sunrise, still frightened. By morning, there was only one thing to do: pack up and leave. Some sounds never leave you.
Like a or something. That was a female.
Strange woman. A camper sat by his tent, enjoying the quiet of the woods, but a strange feeling crept over him. like someone was watching. He looked around, scanning the trees, and then he saw it. A face. Pale, hollow eyes locked onto him. It had a spooky resemblance to Grach y Rybin, the terrifying Welsh spirit known for scaring people, especially campers. The camper decided to pack up. Whatever he saw, he didn't want to see again. Giant skull. In Greece, a hiker stood atop a hill, taking in the breathtaking views until something strange caught his eye. It was too far, so he zoomed in with his camera. Between two towering hills lay a massive humanoid skull, perfectly placed in a spot no one could possibly reach. No one had ever reported seeing it before. Well, it could be from a long-forgotten civilization, left behind for centuries. Or maybe something even more mysterious. Experts may have to examine it, but until then, its origin remains unknown. Strange figure. In the Swiss Alps, a German photographer was capturing the beauty of nature when he noticed a strange sight. A small man, covered in a black cloak, with what seemed to be a white beard, stood in the distance. It appeared for a moment, then vanished. This wasn't any ordinary mountain creature. It looked exactly like the gnomes from folklore said to live in hidden places. The mountains can be lonely, so seeing something unusual almost makes sense. Who knows if he had explored further? He might have found even more. Mysterious entity. People say the woods hold secrets, but this one was beyond creepy. An explorer was wandering through the woods when he noticed a creepy thing hiding behind the bushes. It was white and completely still. Even from a distance, he could see it staring right at him. It looked tightly wrapped in cloth, like it was covered for burial. It stood there for a while, then slipped away and disappeared. Well, if you talk about its appearance, it resembled a pocong. In Indonesian folklore, a pocong is a restless spirit trapped in its cloth, said to hop through the night, scaring those who see it. Thankfully, it went away otherwise. Who knows how far it would have taken him?
Masih kurang jelas kau.
Ghost in white. Dressed in white, this seemingly small-looking girl gave this camper the shock of his life. It was when he finished packing his tent and was about to sleep when he heard a strange scream, and to his surprise, it was this strange, tiny witch. Not sure what to do. The guy casted a protection spell against him and went to sleep. Luckily, whatever he tried, it worked, and the witch didn't say anything to him. Mysterious creature. Hunting at night comes with risks, but some encounters are beyond ordinary. A hunter was out in the forest when he noticed something moving behind the trees. At first, he thought it was just a normal animal, but as he looked closer, its body seemed humanoid. He pointed his light at it, trying to get a better look. This wasn't any animal he knew. It was big, dark, and moving fast. Could it be a skinwalker? Or maybe even creepier. He took a step closer, but it disappeared into the woods. He came looking for wild animals, but that night, he found something else. Eerie photograph. In Edenbridge, Kent, a young woman was camping with friends when strange noises woke her up at 3 a.m. Trying to find the source, she stepped outside, using her camera flash as a light. She snapped several photos pointing in different directions. The real shock came later. While checking her photos, she noticed something strange. A figure on a tree. It had a humanoid shape, with something glowing on its face, maybe eyes. Creatures unseen by human eyes often appear in photos. This could be one of them, a spirit tied to the tree or a skinwalker. Thankfully, she didn't see it then. Otherwise, who knows what could have happened? Alone in woods. While camping in the woods of Oklahoma, a man captured a strange sight on camera. He saw something moving behind the trees. A face with dark eyes peered at him from behind a tree, but it was hard to tell what exactly it was. It could have been an alien, or maybe there was a secret base hidden deep in the woods. Some even say it could have been a demonic entity. It stayed there, closely watching him. The way it stood, almost waiting, made it feel like a trap. If he had stepped closer, he might have walked right into it. Not taking any chances, he turned and left because he knew if such creatures caught you once, there was no way back. Camping encounter. A Reddit user was watching a live forest camera at 3 a.m. when he spotted an unusual thing. A strange figure moved between the trees. Its unnatural motions were unlike anything he had seen before. It didn't move like a human or an animal, making the sight even more unsettling. He quickly recorded the footage and posted it online. Some claimed it was a cryptid, while others dismissed it as a large rodent. But the way it moved left many wondering if it was far stranger. Solo camping.
I looked at the time and it was very strange to me, like who would...
Sleeping alone in a van sounds peaceful until you realize you're not alone. A woman camping in her van woke up at 4 a.m. to a knock on her window. At first, she ignored it, thinking it was just the wind. Then she heard footsteps outside. Moments later, the knocking returned. Peeking outside, she saw someone on a bike. They left, but returned 20 minutes later. Knocking again. When she asked what they wanted, they only said they had a question. Feeling uneasy, she stayed silent. Later, she even noticed headlights in the distance. By morning, she found footprints around her van, spilled water bottles, and worst of all, her tires frozen in the snow. Someone had planned this.
Knocking on the van at 4:30 in the morning.
Creepy screams. Just as a group of friends finished setting up camp, a terrifying scream echoed through the trees. Curious yet uneasy, they followed the sound, recording as they walked. That's when they saw a small humanoid puppet-like figure hanging from a rope. As they tried to make sense of it, another scream rang out, louder this time. Fear took over, and they ran. Meanwhile, their camera recorded a figure standing behind a tree, watching. They hadn't seen it then, but it had been there the whole time.
Oh, no.
Creepy cabin.
We just stopped to look in these woods.
A father and daughter were exploring a forest when they heard unsettling voices. As they walked deeper, they found creepy mannequins in costumes and strange paintings hanging outside a wooden cabin. Just then, a car appeared on the narrow path.
Oh, there's someone lying on the ground.
Feeling uneasy, they quickly turned back, leaving behind whatever mystery surrounded the place. The encounter left them with an unforgettable sense of unease, and still, they had no idea what that was, and what happened that day. But surely, that was not a usual experience.
Oh yeah, that's
What about the washing line?
Hiker's encounter. A woman was jogging through the woods in Hawaii, casually recording her run. Everything seemed normal until she checked the footage at home. Just beyond the bushes, a dark figure stood completely still, its eerie eyes locked on her every move. She hadn't noticed it at the moment, but the camera had. Locals who saw the video whispered one chilling name: Night Marcher. These ghostly warriors are said to appear at night, but this one was watching in broad daylight. That trail, she never set foot there again. Midnight knocking.
I just heard something outside.
A solo camper parked his van along a quiet roadside in Cornwall, hoping to stay unnoticed for the night. As darkness fell, he kept his lights off and made as little noise as possible. Everything seemed fine until the clock struck 2. A sudden noise outside made him freeze. Then, the sound of someone trying the door handle sent a wave of unease through him. This wasn't a polite knock or an officer asking him to move. Someone was attempting to get inside. He held his breath, listening. Moments later, the intruder left, and silence returned. By morning, there was no sign of who had been outside, but the unsettling encounter stayed with him long after he drove away.
Okay, I think they've gone. They literally tried to get in the van.
One-legged creature. While heading home, a local spotted a one-legged creature emerging from the fields. It hopped away, moving strangely in the moonlight. At first, he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him, but later he realized what it was. It was the Gongoi, a ghost from Thai folklore, described as a small, childlike spirit that moves by jumping on one leg. It scared him. Luckily, it was moving away from him, not toward him. He stood frozen, watching it disappear into the darkness, grateful that he didn't have to encounter it. Terrifying encounter. A truck driver was transporting a loaded truck at night when he suddenly saw a terrifying woman standing in the middle of the road. Believing he was witnessing a witch, he pulled out his phone to record. In the video, the figure stood creepily. Her hands and feet appeared to be reversed, making her look inhuman. Some viewers believe she was performing black magic, while others think it was even worse. Whatever it was, the driver didn't stick around to find out. Unexplained figure. This creepy footage was taken during a 12-day camping trip inside a remote, but as the camera continued recording, something unsettling came into view. A strange figure moved deep in the shadows. It was barely noticeable at normal speed. This one reason made the people believe it was a gnome. Because the tiny size and the eerie appearance, everything resembled that mythical creature. And the fact that it didn't attack the guys made everyone sure that it was a gnome, as they too are considered harmless. Scary camping. While camping in the woods, a camper couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. No matter where he looked, nothing seemed out of place. But then, in the distance, he noticed a dark shadow standing between the trees. It wasn't moving, yet it felt unnatural. Later, locals told him about the kuntilanak, a vengeful spirit from Indonesian and Malaysian folklore. Often seen as a woman in white with long black hair, she is known to haunt lonely places. Though many people have seen it, it was the only time a person managed to capture it. Alien encounter. A local was walking through the woods when he heard strange voices coming from one side. Curious, he decided to check it out, unaware of what he was about to encounter. As he moved forward, a skinny figure suddenly appeared behind the trees. Before he could react, it rushed toward him, and in this chaos, his camera fell to the ground, capturing only a few shaky glimpses of the creature. No one knows exactly what happened after that. He never shared any details, just the bizarre footage, and that was enough for the people. Box Hill Night. A local camped in his van in Box Hill, Australia, enjoying a quiet night. But as darkness deepened, a terrifying scream echoed through the empty area. It sounded human. The guy froze in fear, knowing he was alone. So he decided to sleep amidst the chaos of eerie sounds. He got lucky, and the sounds remained outside his tent. By sunrise, everything was silent. No signs of trouble, no clues about the screams. So he packed his bags and never looked back. Glowing encounter. Camping in the woods is fun until you come across this. While camping, a camper heard unusual sounds, and he decided to follow them. As he went after the sounds, he came across a sight he never expected. In the dim light, a thin figure crouched low, moving unnaturally. It wasn't human, it was feeding on something. The moment he saw it, he knew he was looking at an alien, but the alien spotted him too. After a few moments of eerie eye contact, it moved backward and disappeared behind the bushes. Pale humanoid. A hiker set up a trail camera near his camp for security, hoping to catch sight of an animal. But when he checked the footage, he saw something that left him shaken. A humanoid figure had passed by his camp. It was pale in color. Luckily, the camper wasn't there to see it in person. But what if it was a shapeshifter pretending to be human, waiting for him to let his guard down? Maybe the creature had set a trap, and the guy unknowingly avoided it and saved his own life. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. People talk about lost tribes hidden deep in untouched forests, but for two campers, this was no legend. It was real. While setting up camp, they noticed figures moving between the trees. At first, they thought it was wildlife, until they saw human-like shapes covered in animal fur watching them. One of them rushed forward, grabbed their food, and vanished towards the trees. This one act made them fear the guy, and they stepped back. Later, when the guys informed the authorities about the strange creatures inhabiting the forest, they refused to take any action. According to the police, that part of the forest is off limits.